Good morning, beautiful people, and welcome to our first Q&A on the AT.
Yeah, thank you for all the questions. We're going to have some fun with this. We're going to fly through them and yeah, grab a beer, grab a coffee, grab an orange juice, and let's get started. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through them. I'll start with the first one. So from Dartmoor Paul, being on the PCT myself, I've been curious why this year you didn't return to hike the Sierra. I'll take that one because I've got a very good answer for it. This is probably the most common question I'd say that we probably get asked. So the reason why, so in case anyone doesn't know, in 2023 we hiked the majority of the PCT, about 2,000 miles, but we had to skip the majority of the Sierra section because it was a record-breaking snow year. It was very, very dangerous. So why didn't we decide to do that 600-mile section? Well, because we were able to take 6 months off, the timing worked out that it would make more sense for us to attempt another through hike than to do a shorter 600-mile section. Because it's very hard to get 6 months off. My job had finished, my latest contract. Jordan's getting ready to move, and so the stars aligned, the timing worked out, and we thought rather than just doing a small trip, we'll do a big trip, and then we'll come back and do the Sierra section. Mm-hmm. Okay, next question. Here's one for you. Cat hole or privy?
Oh, well, I would kind of cheat the question and say that I brown blaze. And
have to explain what that is.
Brown blazing is pushing hard to, and maybe not digging a cat hole or using the privies and try to make it to a pit toilet or town or some other means. But if I have to choose between a cat hole and a privy, I would lean towards a cat hole, I think. Yeah. We're a little scared of neuro on this trail.
Norovirus is around.
A lot more common than the PCT because the PCT doesn't have shelters. It doesn't have as many picnic benches. It doesn't have as many of these moldering privies. So it wasn't really a concern on the PCT, but now on the AT, we've definitely heard a lot of accounts of people, especially in the bubble, getting sick, getting neuro, and taking them off the trail for several days at least. And we're on a kind of a tight schedule, so getting sick for a few days is not ideal. It would no time for that malarkey. So if I had to choose between the two, I would definitely choose cat hole. A nice peaceful cat hole in the woods can be enjoyable sometimes. It's a little bit more work, but the privy is a little bit more nerve-wracking when it comes to spreading of viruses and bacteria and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Okay, this is a good question. Another question that we get asked a lot, can I ask why you're in 2 tents and not just sharing? Would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can take that one. That's
okay.
Fine. So obviously we met in the PCT, we had our own tents. And that was something that as we started to realize, and that we enjoyed each other's company, and like we entered a relationship partway through the PCT. It was a question that we thought about ourselves, and we realized that it comes down to a couple of things. Yeah, like there's a time aspect, which is when we wake up if we're in a 2-person tent, which I carry a 2-person tent anyways. If we wake up a 2-person tent, all of the room is pretty much occupied by us. There's very little room for our packs and our stuff and our explosions, you could say. So when you're trying to get ready, you have the chores to do in the morning to get ready to hike. It's just it's not efficient for us to be in the same tent to try to do this. I like having the reason I carry a 2-person tent is I like having myself and then my pack and my stuff and my explosion all next to me. I wake up in the morning and I'm able to do my chores, I'm able to cook my breakfast, I'm able to do what I need to do and pack my backpack up, and nobody's in my way trying to like get past me, bumping elbows, whatever, faffing. Yeah. 2-person tent is really, really pretty much enough for exactly 2 people sleeping systems.
Yeah, it's barely enough for 2 people. But yeah, it's also like, you know, on a trail like this, it's not like a 1 week, you know, car camping adventure. You know, we have to be really efficient. We're trying to get, 20 miles in a day. And also, we carry everything ourselves. Like we're fully, between us, like each of us, we're fully self-sufficient. And that's also like a safety aspect as well. So if anything was to happen, like if me and Jordan somehow got lost from each other, we both have everything. We carry our own water filters, our own stoves. We have a full set of gear, each of us. So like we could easily, you know, be apart and be able to survive, you know, if like an emergency happened. And if we had only one tent, we wouldn't be able to set up shelter. So that's another reason. So efficiency and just safety aspect.
We've thought about getting a 3-person tent, but we still kind of leaned against it because once again we only have one tent. If I'm carrying half the tent, she's carrying half the tent, and we get separated, we're both SOL when it comes down to sleeping that night, because maybe she has the poles and I have the tent. I can't set up my tent without the poles, and she doesn't have a tent to set up with the poles. So we're not like we don't plan on being separated, but it's just a worst case scenario. We both are independent hikers. If it came down to it, if a storm hit, lightning or whatever, like really bad, you know, floods or whatever, stopped her from crossing a river that I had crossed maybe 30 minutes before. At least we're independent, but yeah.
Okay, next question. This is one for me. Ash, what do you think of the Hornet Elite Osmo tent? Do you think it would stand up in 20 to 30 kilometer wind and rain? Also, how different are the walking conditions on the AT to parts of the PCT? Elevation, track condition. Love your videos, thank you. Okay, so always happy to talk about tents. It's one of my favorite things to talk about. I've been really enjoying the Hornet Elite. It's really impressed me. We've had some crazy rain, like torrential, like basically pitched in a flood, and it hasn't leaked on me. It's been really good. So far I'm really impressed with it in the rain, and just in general it's a comfortable tent. It's really lightweight. Pitching it is really easy. With wind, we haven't really had, hasn't really been that windy. We've had a couple bits of gusts, but it is a semi-freestanding tent, so it wouldn't be the sort of tent I would bring if I was expecting crazy winds. But I feel like the majority of the time on the PCT or the AT, I think it would hold up fine. Yeah,
the AT's pretty protected from wind because you're in rolling hills and there's trees everywhere and bushes. We haven't really ran into a lot of wind. A little bit, you know, enough to say that I think the tent seems like it's holding up pretty well, but we haven't really tested it through and through for that. But
but on the AT, I feel pretty good on it. And oh my gosh, good. This is what we were talking about yesterday, how different the walking conditions are on the AT versus the PCT.
Yeah, very different. Very different.
We were spoiled on the PCT.
Yeah, AT is it's not like all of the ATs the same, you know. Different trail maintainers, different crews in different states. Sections. Yeah, so it's not like we can say, all of the AT is this or that, all the AT is that. But it does seem that the AT has steeper parts and rocky, rooty. And it seems like the PCT was more of a pretty flat trail when it comes down to it. And the grading on the PCT, everybody talks about how the PCT was originally made for pack animals, and it does kind of hold up for most of it. I think there are some parts where I'm like, a pack animal can't do this part of the PCT. But in general, the PCT is very well graded. You know, instead of going 1 mile straight up a mountain on the AT, the PCT might take 2 miles switchbacking to do the same elevation gain. So the grade is just, it's easier to keep your steps going. You're not like huffing and puffing up steps of rocks that are like 20% grade, which we've ran into a couple sections already. But yeah, I
would say, so the actual trail itself, very rocky, very rooty so far in over 500 miles. That's kind of what the general consensus is, which definitely makes it challenging. But I would say that in terms of like blowdowns and stuff, this trail is better maintained than the PCT, at least in our experience. Very few blowdowns.
Yeah, the PCT, we had a storm year, and now we're hiking the AT after a hurricane. So I feel like we're able to compare the two because both have been dealt with some crazy weather recently. And I feel like the AT maintainers have done a fantastic job getting this trail back up and running for what weather they ran into last year. And we could tell all the work. You can see freshly cut trees everywhere. And seems like there's more trees fallen on the AT, and they're taken care of, where in the PCT we ran into large sections, one of them being in Northern California. We stepped over 235 blowdowns in 20-mile section, which was very, very frustrating. And, not to say I think we can say that we're not going to run into that, because I think we're past most of the hurricane damage at this point, from what we've heard. So
who knows? But so far, that's the experience. That's a good question. With being together 24/7, what types of conversation fills your day? Also, congratulations once again on your engagement. Thank you.
Thank you.
Somehow we don't really run out of stuff to say.
Yeah. Well, Ash has a plethora of things to talk about, and she exercises that ability very, very, very frequently.
I can talk about, like, if you just give me a topic, like a tent, I could probably talk about a tent for days.
Yeah.
Sometimes we think of like ideas, like, in fact, recently we've been talking about designing a tent, and trying to learn how to make tents and different types of tents and tarps. And
we ran into a lady that made her own backpacks. We started brainstorming about our backpack if we were to make one. And then we do something called the question of the day.
Question of the day.
Yeah, every day we try to brainstorm a question along with our trail family that we're starting to form. And it could be as simple as what's your favorite meal, or if you could go back in time to any point in the future or past to spend a day there, what would you do? Or like what year would you go to? Stuff like that. Just kind of like little questions to help just kind of spark some conversation, and it helps pass the time, especially if you're going up a hill or something like that. Like you have a 2-mile climb, you might as well try to be talking about something to get your mind off the hill, get your mind off the little bit of pain and struggle for that little brief period. And it's actually really entertaining.
Okay, we're running low on time. Okay. How is the wedding planning going on the trail? We've still got quite a lot to do.
We still have a lot. We didn't leave ourselves a lot, but we still have a lot to do. We did a big push to Damascus for trail days, and now is finally when we're past that, and we're able to probably take some more time.
Yeah, when we have more zeros, and that was from Danielle. Hi, Danielle.
Danielle.
Okay. Someone says, hopefully attempting to do the AT next year. Is there plenty of water on trail? Do you need to carry more than a litre? I love Northern Ireland and the Titanic Museum.
What a great museum.
We pretty much at all times fill up a litre and then walk until it's done. And then, you get plenty of water.
Plenty of water on the AT.
Get far out up and you're not going to be stuck.
You almost, on the AT, you almost don't need it because it's pretty regular.
Tons of water.
I mean, you have 6 miles at I feel like there's the most 6 or 8 miles.
Okay, from Mum, are you missing me and Dad or just Pepsi? Of course I'm missing Pepsi the most. I'm joking, I'm missing you too, Mum and Dad, but mainly Pepsi.
Hello, Mrs. O.
Okay. Oh, okay, so how are you finding the AT versus PCT? Pretty much answered that. What part of the AT are you most looking forward to? What part are you dreading? Well, I feel like there's nothing specifically that I'm excited to get the Harper's Ferry for some reason, because that's like the halfway point, and excited for the Shenandoahs.
Yeah, Shenandoahs.
I'm excited for the 100-mile wilderness. That is one part. That's going to be at the very end. I'm just excited for that.
I don't think we're really dreading anything other than just long periods of rain.
Well, and rocks in Pennsylvania. I'm not really looking forward to that, but okay. So, since your relationship has been very long distance, I'm curious about who's moving where. even more after you get married? When did your relationship start? Yeah, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, it was a tough conversation to have, and a lot of aspects go into it. But we've pretty much come to the decision that I will be moving to Belfast, mostly because Ash's career is not as flexible as mine is. So we're pretty much, when Ash gets a job, I will follow, and we're looking like she wants to stay in Belfast. It seems like there's some good opportunities there.
Visa's easier, and that's our fun.
Visa is easier for the UK compared to the United States, yeah.
So another question we get asked a lot, are you going for your Triple Crown? That's something that we've talked about quite a lot, and yes.
Yeah,
yes.
Stay tuned. Nothing, obviously we won't know until we start hiking, but the CT is longer trail, so it's harder to finish it in a 6-month visa, but we might tackle it over 2 trips or something, but we'll see. Stay tuned.
Yeah, well, definitely, like, next stop, we'll hopefully I'll complete this entire through hike and then go and finish off the PCT section whenever we next get the time off, because that's the thing, it's really hard to put your life on hold for 6 months to go and do another big trip, but one day in life we'll do the Triple Crown. Oops, I just lost the messages. Does it ever feel troublesome to hike with a YouTuber? I think that's for you. Well, technically you're the YouTuber now.
Yeah.
You're better at it than me.
Yeah, she's just a cameraman now. In the beginning, when I first met her, it was a little like, I'm not like the most publicly spoken guy when we started, and I was out here to enjoy nature and stuff, and it was kind of interesting seeing somebody to document it and, ask me to start introducing videos, and I was like, oh gosh, like, what do I do with my hands? But as time went on, I realized all the passion that she puts into it, and the kind of fun situations it can create, and the amazing people that we meet through the videos, all the encouragement that we get in the comments.
We meet a lot of people on trail that are watching, which is really cool.
Which is really fun, like people driving past and Tehachapi yelling, Ash, I love your videos! And we're just like different interactions like that have been fun, but overall it's been... I didn't realize how fun it was gonna be, and I'm really enjoying it, and I don't think it's too much of a burden. Yeah, not too much.
Okay, so someone is asking, do you support any side in the English Premier League or European soccer in general, NFL, any other sports or teams that you carry in your heart? I'm not really interested whatsoever in sport. No, I don't mind the Winter Olympics when it's on. I climb back home, so I quite like watching the climbing when it's on TV. Hey, that's good. Yeah, we're sitting in front of the window, so just in case you're wondering, we're not waving at you, we're waving at our buddy outside.
But yeah, go Chargers and D-backs.
Okay, I think that is pretty much it. Yeah. That's a similar question. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. We'll probably do another Q&A later down the line if we've missed anything. Apologies. I don't have anything else to say.
That was pretty good.
Yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for following along and participating and commenting, even though I never reply, but it's very, very hard to get the time to reply, but I'm still reading the comments. We both are, and we appreciate you watching. Thank you for the words of encouragement, and we'll catch you guys later. Okay, bye.
Bye.